Kells, welcome to Franklin's Gardens. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
First off, just obviously been in Northampton a couple of months now. How are you settling in to life over here?
Yeah, settling in well. I mean, the boys were fantastic when I got here, and the transition's been pretty seamless for me.
A lot of Saints fans aren't going to know a lot about you or your background. Just maybe talk to us a little bit first of all about your journey over here and what brought you to Northampton.
Yes, I started over in Sydney with the Waratahs, and obviously Rob Horn came from the Waratahs over to here, so kept a pretty keen eye on how the Saints went last year. And Tommy Collins actually came over to Sydney as well, so kept an even keener eye on them. So when this sort of popped up on the radar, I mean, it was a pretty simple decision for me in the end.
What's been the biggest adjustment, I guess, to make having come over here? Put the weather aside, obviously the temperature's a bit different.
I was about to say the weather.
But obviously settling in here is a very different place to Sydney, Northampton, right?
Yeah, it is. Quieter, less traffic, which is fantastic. I mean, in a rugby sense, I think the biggest adjustment for me was dealing with the size of the squad and the number of people that are in and around the place. Obviously, Super Rugby's a much shorter season, so less people around. But that's all part of it. And then again, the type of footy, the style of footy, very set piece dominant, and that's something that I came over here to get used to and to learn about and to develop my own game, sort of from that perspective, which has been pretty good so far.
I know you came over here carrying a small injury as well, and it took a little while to get integrated into the squad. And I guess how challenging is that just to start off with coming in and trying to learn stuff while you're not necessarily able to get stuck right in as you'd like?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, coming anywhere injured is tough. Being the new guy is even tougher. So, I mean, it wasn't easy, but that's all part of it. It's all part of the process. So just get on with it, get going, and like I said, the boys were fantastic in making my transition pretty easy. Fully
fit now, obviously you played against Bath last week, and what was it like to sort of finally get the chance to put on the Saints shirt and get out there in Bath?
Yeah, it was awesome, mate. It was awesome. I mean, pretty star-studded squad, I would say. So you sort of, even from the other side of the world, watch a lot of these guys play footy, and again, to be able to play with those guys, and I mean, the weather not great, but it was still a good experience. So I'm really excited for hopefully another chance this weekend.
Have you ever played in conditions like that before? What was that like for you?
Oh, if I have, mate, I can't remember them. It was bloody minus 20 degrees out there and raining sideways. It was freezing. So. But they tell me that's pretty par for the course here, so I'll have to get used to it.
And obviously getting your first taste of the Premiership as well. I mean, it's really early to compare it to Super Rugby or anything like that, but how big a draw was the Premiership for you coming over here and the level of competitiveness throughout the league? Yeah,
I mean, the Premiership's obviously taking over the sort of rugby world in a sense, I think, probably dominating in terms of how it's run and the level of competition. So, I mean, it was a big draw card for me to come over and test myself in that level, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to do that further down the track.
Chris Boyd's sort of described you as a versatile kind of player, can play in a lot of different positions around the back line. I mean, where do you see yourself fitting in here, and where do you think you're strongest?
I suppose they're probably two different questions at the minute. I think where I can add the most value here is probably in the centres. Lots of pretty talented outside backs, lots of talented centres too for that matter, but I think in terms of the way I play and my game, I think for me I'll add the most in the centres. But that being said, I wouldn't be opposed to playing out wider or deeper. So I think though at the minute playing in the centres is where I prefer to be.
Have you watched any games here at Franklin's Gardens yet? Did you come down for the first couple?
Yeah, I watched the Glasgow trial game and the Quins game. Who else have we played here? Sarries, yeah, watch the Sarries game. So what an atmosphere, hey? Like it's everyone up there's chomping at the bit to get a game. So if I'm fortunate enough to get out there, it'll be a good one.
And just finally, looking ahead to Bristol this weekend, obviously it's another challenge, another trip down to the West Country for you. But have you had a chance to see much of them? Obviously they're new in the league this year, but they've brought a lot of good guys in. Yeah, they have. They've got some good players down there, so it's I mean, it's exciting to see a handful of Aussies down there going well. So kept a pretty close eye on them, and the way they play the game, I think, is fantastic. Obviously with a Kiwi coach, really looking to play with the ball, which is awesome to watch. And I think the way we want to play, it's going to be an awesome spectacle this weekend.